Hi, I'm Xian, staff backend engineer from Environments Group. Today, I'd like to demonstrate this feature, support environment keyword with trigger keyword. In other words, support environment keyword for parent-child or multi-project pipelines. Here's a brief summary of GitLab YAML. In the deploy job, there's a trigger keyword defined to trigger downstream pipeline. And then also define environment keyword to specify that which environment is the downstream pipeline going to deploy. Currently, this is impossible to do that, but this epic is to enable the feature. But before diving into demonstration, I'd like to briefly explain why this feature is important. So that you can see a bunch of feedback in this epic that especially this feature is important for large organizations that prefer separate responsibilities between developers and operators. So, for example, here's a project, application project that where developers are building, coding an application. So for example, developer creates a merge request and they're running a test, they're building an image and then pushing the Docker image to container registry. And then they start environment. It could be review environment or staging production. But the organization want to trigger downstream pipeline in this case, instead of letting developers to fully build the infrastructure. There may be some compliance that organization prefer. For example, they prefer specific cloud, AWS or GCP, or maybe there are other license requirement or observability tech stack or something like that. So basically, they want to regulate this infrastructure stack in a single project. So here's the other project. This is a deployment project that's specifically responsible to deploy the application project. So this deployment project pulling the container image from application repository and then doing a bunch of the processes. For example, Helm install is if they depend on Helm, or could be like kubectl or GCP command, GCP CLI, whatever. So whatever it is, there are some toolings exist in this project to provisioning the new environment. And then at the last, the result is feedback to this development project, so that developers can actually access to the environment without knowing underlying infrastructure toolings. And then this is actually what GitLab is interested in currently. This is architecture diagram for runway. So this is this runway is a project to they basically construct the environment for developers. So this service project is let's consider as a application project. The developers working on it, building a Docker image, something like that. And then this triggers downstream pipeline in deployment project so that it's executing a bunch of tools to actually making it happen, including observabilities. This actually this architecture could actually vary per organization. For example, these are another article about the Atlassian, how they approach. Heterogeneity has an internal platform as a service that we call Micros. It's a set of tools, services, and environments that enable heterogeneous engineers to deploy and operate services in AWS as quickly, easily, and safely as possible. So this is a keyword, that internal platform as a service. Yes, this is actually in the goal of this epic. But this epic is specifically targeting this connection, service project, and application project and deployment project. So without further ado, I'm going to demonstrate. Let's take a look at the upstream project. Let's see, GitLab. There are two stages, deploy and cleanup. In this demo, I'm going to demonstrate how to deploy a review environment. But the same practice can be used for production or staging. And here's a deploy review job. This extends some configurations for downstream pipelines. First of all, this is the most important word that triggers downstream pipeline in the downstream project. Let's consider this is a deployment project. And then there's a bunch of options, branch strategy. And the variables is important, that giving a context of upstream project to downstream project, so that the deployment project knows which environment they should deploy to, or which project requested the deployment. And then this deploy review job has an environment keyword. This is what's currently impossible, but what are we going to support? So name is a environment name, review slash could be future branch name, so like a review slash or some future or bug fix or something like that. So let's try to create a merge request. Let's say I'm going to add a new feature and then commit to new branch or some future one, and then create a merge request. Okay, awesome future one. And this already created pipeline. So let's take a look at the pipeline. This deploy review job triggered downstream pipeline, and which contains provisioning job. There's currently the inside, there's nothing but the yeah, I'm going to walk you through shortly. So yeah, it successfully executed the downstream pipeline in the context of review this specific review app environment. Now let's take a look at the downstream project. Downstream project, here's a GitLab configuration. This provisioning job is executed when upstream environment action equal its start. This variable was a pass from the upstream variable as a context. And also it's executed, this condition is allowed to execute this job only when in multi-project pipelines. And then there are a bunch of scripts. This could be maybe executing a bunch of deployment tools, or executing another downstream project to for more complicated workflow. And then let's go back to the job. This job log, that the upstream context is correctly passed to the downstream. And also it's possible to execute API for the upstream environment, so that the downstream project can update the environment properties. For example, dynamically generated URL can be set after a job is done. And then job token authentication can be used here. So this is great. And then let's say this merge request is merged. So when this merge request is merged, it's going to trigger another downstream pipeline to tear down the environment, and this cleanup job is executed. Yeah, and similarly, the context is passed to the downstream pipeline so that the project can actually release the resource. At the last, let me walk you through this environment page. Environment page works similarly with the current feature set. For example, we see in the production environment that there are a bunch of deployments and succeeded. These all executed the downstream pipeline. So users can jump to the specific deployment pipeline. And also the rollback is possible, which execute the downstream pipeline with a previous SHA. Yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Please let me know if you have any questions. Especially we are looking for feedback if this is a feature you're expecting or like something different. Please leave a comment in the Epic. And yeah, that's all. Thanks. Bye.